I'm trying to do a run through of Jason. Welcome, whoever's watching now, whoever watches later. It's been about a 2-month hiatus from filming things on the old Toying Bee Hexes and Soldiers channel. I thought I'd throw something up here, and I have been working on something, which is this. I find myself, and I'm going to ramble and jump back and forth, so bear with me. Basically the usual. And I find myself coming back to again and again, revisiting Battles of Napoleon, and I've variated this in a number of ways to fit my particular tastes. The latest variant is probably what I'm most pleased with. I'll start with the map, which is photocopies of enlarged Conflict of Heroes hexes. So what I did is laid down, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 pages flat, and was doing a kind of Kriegspiel style, measuring range and distances for movement, firing, etc. And that was working out pretty cool. But then I found myself bored one day and decided I'm going to start cutting actual hex tiles for hills, say 2 or 3, 4, 5, and what that ended up turning into was a whole boatload of hexes. And what else encouraged me to do this is I have about three maybe copies of Commands and Colors Napoleonics, and I've been using the pieces from those for other things, but a couple of the copies that I had the punched out cardboard hex tiles with the horrible artwork that represents hills, etc. So I used those, and I made more photocopies of the Conflict of Heroes terrain, and cut all those out and pasted it on there. So what you see here is the amount of those pre-cut hexes that were included in Commands and Colors. That's all I have. So if you see gaps, there's a reason for that. That is because I only had so many to work with. Now, I suppose you could cut more hexes instead of using simply the pre-cut ones. That's certainly an option, although even more time consuming than what I've already put into this. But then I started looking at it, and there's no terrain. Not that I'm going for super realism here, but there really is no terrain that is perfectly flat. So just for like kind of eye candy, I thought it looked kind of nice just leaving the gaps and the holes. And then on top of that, I did in fact add what you can see here with some black foam that always comes in handy for any number of stuff. I always have some on hand. I cut that out. Now, this is not the first time I've done this. I have done this many years ago, bigger hex sizes, precisely for this reason. But I ended up using them for Commands and Colors and any other number of things. The other problem is they're back in storage in St. Louis, so they do me no good here in the old New Orleans. But I'm real happy with this. It looks good, it feels right. And then the other thing you might notice, and this is nothing new either, the pieces, instead of using the figures that are included in the game, and I've done a number of variants with that as well. The latest, obviously, this. Pieces from Risk, and concocted some symbols, printed them out, and then stickied them onto the blocks. So still has kind of a Kriegspiel feel. They look and feel right, size-wise, space-wise, in proximity of each hex. So yeah, that's what you're looking at here. Also, and this is way off topic, but probably should have started with this, is for those of you not aware, I've been working on another project, the Hexes and Soldiers magazine. And sorry you can't see my face. The camera is out of reach because you're on the other side of the table. I could go around and raise it up and then come back around and you could see my face. You've seen my face. It's overrated. The novelty's worn off, I hope. So I'm not going to mess with that. Then I got to go back around and refocus on the map, which I have just about right. So the Hexen Soldiers magazine is finally just about done. It has been submitted to the printers. They're looking at it as we speak. I want them to print one up, send me a review copy. If everything looks good, I'll have them print the rest of them up, and then we're ready to roll. So probably about 2 plus or minus weeks on that. For those of you that have contributed, I thank you again. Your shirts are being printed up. I didn't have enough on hand, so I just printed up another batch of Hexen Soldiers shirts. So your free copy of the magazine and your shirt will be shipped in the mail as soon as I get the stuff. Again, thank you guys for your submissions. And the magazine, we're looking at a price of $9.95 for that. And I will have that available on the HNS Games Wix website for purchase as soon as it is available. Now back to the game after that plug. A couple of other things I've done here. Now this is a game, if you're not familiar, in which you have cards much similar to these. These are for the combat results. You also have cards that have stats for your units and your commanders. I have no problem with the cards, but I can't sit still, so I had to change it. Change the cards to a simple, instead of having cards all up here, cards all down here with all this information, it's been condensed into this sheet. We've got the British here and the French on the back. And what we have here is commander stats and then units that are attached to each commander. So that's how I'm using that. The orders can be written for each group, unit group, with a erasable Sharpie, which is what I have here. The lateral arrow represents a maneuver order. The arrows pointing up represent attack. Arrows pointing down represent defend, and then X represents a reserve unit. I've done the orders for the British already. I have not done the orders for the French. Before I do so, I will clue you in on what is going on here historically. This is a historical scenario. It is scenario 8, which is entitled Jerome. And I'll read it to you so you know what's going on. It says, 3 salvos shot by the artillery of the French Guard signaled the beginning of the Battle of Waterloo. Prince Jerome, brother of Napoleon, was ordered to attack the Huguenot Chateau on the left wing of the French deployment, which would be here, and advanced his infantry into the woods around the farm. The scenario reconstructs the initial French assault intended to attract Allied reserves to this sector of the battlefield, while the main French attack was to be launched by the 1st Corps. Jerome's main objective was Huguenot. What was supposed to be only a diversion soon evolved into a bitter struggle that lasted the entire day, with the outcome uncertain until the general retreat of the French army. And when I was reading this in the past, when I thought about this, it's almost like a microcosm of, it's like Napoleon's Stalingrad here. It really didn't need to become what it did become, but for whatever reason it did, and it held up Napoleon significantly. He had decided to focus way more effort than perhaps he should have on that. There's striking parallels there between Stalingrad and what's going on. What else do we have here? Deployment and battlefield. So this would use 4 map boards, which the hexes that are available for use in the game via the map boards are the same amount of hexes that we have here. So there's no difference there. Optional skirmisher rule, which I do not use. We have the farm and the woods. This is 10 turns. And the way that I do turns here is my own special way. I put, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 black markers and 1 red marker in there. Why? At the end of each turn, we pull this to represent the end of the turn. If it's black, just continue as normal. If it is red, then those reserves, British reserves that are due to come on map, are able to do so. Special rules, let's see, you have special rules for Hougoumont. For my own benefit, I'm going to go over these. The Hougoumont form is composed of 3 hexes, which again are these here, 1, 2, 3. And all are impassable for artillery and cavalry. In addition, cavalry may not charge or attack and melee any enemy units in the farm. Infantry in the farm hex adopts an open order formation, which I do not have represented. Woods hexes follow the usual rules for woods terrain. The farm hex counts as a fortress, which means it gives a -3 melee and fire modifier. Infantry may not melee attack the farm hex in line, but only in open order or column. I'm sure I will forget much, if not all of that. Then we have the off-map units, which I'm using my own rules to deal with that. And then the victory conditions. The British player wins at the end of any turn in which he completely eliminates or routs 2 French infantry unit groups. Doesn't sound like much. But again, a group consists of a commander and anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 attached units. What else here? If he uses one or both of the off-map unit groups, he must eliminate or rout 3. So if the reinforcements come on, at that point you're going to have to do 3, not 2. The French player wins at the end of any turn in which he achieves one of the following objectives: controls the Hougoumont farm. Farm hex proper, so not the woods but the farm. And there are no British units in the 3 hexes adjacent to the farm that were initially occupied by Unit Group 1. Or he completely eliminates or routs 2 British infantry unit groups, which again, that doesn't sound like too tall of a task. So that's what's going on the map. I should move these to represent open order. Oh Lord, I'm shaky today. That is how I will represent open order. That work for you? Looks better. And then the French need orders. And at the beginning of the game, the orders that you give them are in effect. At each turn after that, they can remain in effect, or you can opt to change any of the orders. To do so is basically a morale test, and then the orders can be changed. Sometimes that can be a bit of a problem, so let's see. I want the artillery here and here, which are already in the formation they need to be to move up, so I'll give them attack order because you can't give artillery maneuver orders. Attacking will allow them to move up. Then we have Unit Group A, which consists of cavalry. I'll give them a maneuver order. Unit Group B here will get... I don't know that a maneuver order is going to do them much good. I mean, they're fairly close to where they need to be anyway. Also, if you have a maneuver order, you cannot move adjacent to an enemy unit, so I can only move one anyway with a maneuver order, so it might as well be an attack order, which only allows a movement of 1. Let's see, Unit Group C consists of 2 units here. Same, they'll get an attack order. Unit Group D, another 2 units here. These are all infantry, by the way. They may in fact benefit from a maneuver order because they have a little bit further to go. Unit Group E, more cavalry down here, definitely get a maneuver order. And finally, Unit Group F here, consisting of 4 infantry units, are also getting a maneuver order. So that is how that's represented on the sheet. the French. Now we'll conduct a simple initiative roll to see who goes first, and then we'll get into some more variants that I've created. The French will go first. I'm just going highest, lowest, and tiebreakers go to the French. Each unit group on the board is represented in this cup. Shake the cup up and see who. You know what? Why did I roll for initiative? That didn't need to be done. We're just going to draw from the cup. So who goes first? British go first. We have C, unit group C. So I didn't need to roll for initiative. Got a little overzealous there. This is unit group C, and what are their orders? Their orders are to maneuver. And they're already in column formation, so no problem there. To maneuver, you can move up to 2 hexes. They need to defend, help defend here. There's no point in moving here. But if they could create kind of a buffer against units over here that are going to move in that direction, that perhaps may be beneficial. So let's go ahead and move them. And the way these need to face is hex against the hex line. I'll explain that better in a second. So 1, 2. Let's put in there. 1, 2. So you see how he's facing a hex line instead of, I don't know what you call it, hex face. And he's going to go 1, 2. And just for my own sake of memory, I'll put a white cube there to represent having done so I don't forget and move him again, which is something I would totally do next. We're good there. Alright, so now we have, for the French, unit group C, who has a what? A maneuver order. I'm wondering if I shouldn't have given them an attack order. Them's the brakes, I guess. Let's pull him here. And he should actually be here. Alright, he was left there from the last game. 1, 2, let's pull him here. Thusly. And you can't see from that side, but if you look from this angle, you can see the units are labeled, so I can keep track of what's going on. I'll see, I can't move there because they have a maneuver order, and you're not allowed to move adjacent with a maneuver order, so I kind of shot myself in the foot with unit group C. What else we got here? British artillery. You know what? I'm looking at the wrong side. C has an attack order. I was looking at the British there, so that's still only 1 though. But he wouldn't have been able to move 2. Double check that. Alright, so to clarify, when you look at this correctly, this is the French, they do have an attack order and they can only move 1. Rather than looking at the C, which is British. So who's next? XX is artillery here. They have a defend order, so they're not going anywhere. Staying right there. Do they have And there's a whole command phase, but nothing on your first turn worth paying attention to there. So this is what is called the action phase. First part of the action phase, which consists of formation, change, wheel, move, or fire. So he could fire. I don't know that it would do him any good, because at a range of 4, he only has a +1. Let's give it a shot anyway. Let's let him, and these guys moved, right? Let's give this artillery group a shot. Go ahead and roll them a 4. That's not going to be much. And then we're going to look on our fire chart. So roll a 4 with a +1 is a 5. 6, 7, 8 for each gunner or figure. Target for each rank in the target, that would be 10. And that's it. You need 11 or better to draw a card and get a result. 10 isn't going to cut it, so nothing happened there. That brings us to another draw. Let's see who's next. Looks like the right wing artillery gets to go. They can move 1. That's what we will do here. Moved. We have a British A maneuver. They get 2. Let's see. This actually needs to be here. Your command rules are pretty strict in this. It's all acts like a chain, connecting chain of units and their commander. You can move out of command on a turn, but on the next turn, if they're still out of command, that's bad news. So here's perhaps a crappy move. I don't know if that accomplished much. It's a start. I don't know if you can hear it, but the music in the background is Napoleon Total War, which is a fantastic soundtrack. Totally addicted to it. Alright, so after a rough start, we're off and rolling. Excuse me. Alright, so this would be French artillery. They can move 1, and they will do the there. We have unit group F, French. There's this group here, which has, look at the French, that is a maneuver order. They can move 2. I don't know if there's any point coming up here. But there's definitely a point coming here. Let's see here. I bet the cat would love to tear this thing up. Let's see, 1. What if we come around this way? Is that stupid? Probably. 1, 2. Question mark? 1, 2. And if you'll notice, I am wheeling or turning, if you like, which is allowed to an extent during a move. You can't go nuts with it. Put him here. They're done. That was Unit Group F with French. Trying to come around this way, maybe keep them separated from joining the fray. French, let's see how they're actually move onto this hill, but still nothing within range, so I don't know what the point of that is. Looks formidable, how about that? Scary French artillery on the hill. Everybody run. And then B, French again, so this has been 4 French goes in a row. And B has an attack order. That would be 1 X. Like so. That is the French B. What else we got here? Now the British go. Unit Group D has been activated, and they have a maneuver order, I believe. Let's look at the British D maneuver order. They're gonna just move forward here. Commander up. Just bring him on in. There's that. 4 units left. We have Unit Group E for the French. This is the cavalry down here. Go like this. Well, if I left them like that, they'd be out of command, right? But if I bring him up, another like links in a chain, all in command. B, British. That's these guys. They got nobody within range to fire or attack, so that's kind of a wash. And there, well, what do I have for them to defend? British B, yes. So technically I could bring him up, but he doesn't have an order to allow him to do so. He has a defend order, which means he's going to stay put. French D, Unit Group D. 2 infantry units here. They have a maneuver order. Let's bring them up. 1, but again, you can't move adjacent, so moving your full maneuver order will cause them to move adjacent. And since this British group moved up, now we kind of got to stay put. Our movement is halved. What else? We have 1 left. That's Unit Group A over here. These long forgotten cavalry units here. I'm gonna bring them. You know, that'd be nice if I could. It's a long way to go, but catch the British cavalry here moving in. And this may sound funny to you guys, but I'm still learning how to effectively use cavalry. Because in the past, all I've done is fling them against masses of infantry, and every time the infantry forms a square, and it's just like, dude, what is the point of cavalry if they're just going to form a square every time? Point is, since you asked, you want to disorder infantry and get them all screwed up and out of whack, and then slam cavalry at them. That is when cavalry is effective. That, speaking of effective, that effectively ends the first segment of the action phase, which was our change/wheel, or for you Brits, stroke wheel, move, fire. Now that brings us to the second segment of the action phase, which would be, let's see, formation change, wheel, melee, or cavalry charge. We've got no melee that's going to happen, no cavalry charging that's going to occur. Formation change. I'm reluctant, especially as the French put anybody in line, since we still have some maneuvering to do. No point in putting these guys in line because they're not allowed to be. You know? I'm going to put the British here. This is Unit Group C that had moved up earlier. They are now in line. Did I say they could wheel? Yep. And wheel right like that. Huh? Like apples, I like them apples. Let's keep him there. So they're now in line. We'll bring these guys in line formation. Pull these white guys off, and that is the end of the first turn. Yeah? Not too eventful. On the other hand, we don't have to spend 50 turns trying to move within contact of each other. Which I guess at times can be fun, but other times not so much. There's that. These go back in the cup. Of course, if a unit was destroyed, we would leave the shit and cube out. Draw one of these. And there's also a rally phase, but nobody needs rallying, so that's a moot point. Well, let's see if the British reserves come on. They do not. That's the end of turn 1 officially there. That brings us to turn 2. Now, with turn 2, any orders that units have that we don't want to have, we can attempt to change them. So let's start with the British. They're the easiest in this scenario to deal with. They need to maintain, artillery needs to maintain a attack order, which allows it to move. Cavalry need to maintain a maneuver order. Let's see, these guys all, this is Unit Group B, maintain a defend order. Unit Group C, which is in a maneuver order, needs to change, so we will roll to try to do that. A 3 is not a good sign. The order's value for Unit Group Leader for Unit Group C is a 3, so that's a 6. Oh, here's what you do. All you have to do, bear with me here. It's not a full morale check, it's a truncated morale check. So to change your orders, I think all I need is an 11 or better. Shoot. Wheel information change. Just want to make sure, so bear with me here. Yeah, all you have to do is roll a die and add the unit group commander's order value, which is a 6, so that's not happening. They still have a stupid maneuver order because their commander sucks. D, what do you have? Do you have also? Yes, you do. Great. So now let's try and change these guys. Not happening. They roll a 1. And I'm going to go back on what I did earlier. Why? Because if they still have a maneuver order, they're not going to be in line. They're going to stay in column. So I guess that was wishful thinking on my part. Had I been able to change, I will leave them as they wheeled. Had I been able to change their maneuver orders to an attack order, I could have then put them in line. But they don't get to do that, so it sucks for them. So that's it for the British. Everything stays the same, unfortunately. Let's move to the French. We're going to keep them with a maneuver order. These guys here, what do they have? Unit Group B has an attack order. Fantastic. C, yes, great. D, no. You need an attack order, not a maneuver order. What are you going to roll? A 5. Could be promising. C, no. Yes. D has, nope, only an 8. So see, they're stuck with a stupid maneuver order too. Now here is where, you see this is a French flag on it? You probably can't see that. That is the commander-in-chief. Now if I was able to move him, which I didn't yet, and I probably should have, you can use his orders instead of unit group commander. That would have probably helped. Let's see if E has any better luck. Ooh, a 7. With orders, E's got a badass for commander because he's got a 5 for his orders level. But E doesn't need to change his orders because it's cavalry way back here in maneuver, so that was stupid. Finally, unit group F, they need to change from a maneuver order to an attack order. They get an 8. They did so. So finally, change that. Just convenience of dry erase. Just erase that. On the right and up arrow, which represents attack. I don't know if you guys are able to follow what the hell is going on. It's not overly complicated. I could perhaps be explaining it inadequately. But that's the beginning of turn 2, which was our command phase. We changed orders. British, if they chose to do so, could move their commander-in-chief. I forgot to do so, so I'm going to leave him where he is. Check for out-of-command units. Artillery is always in command. Isn't that convenient? I see nobody out of command, so we're good there. Now we go to the action phase, part 1, which is our what? Change stroke or slash wheel. Move and fire, so not a lot of fire is going to be going on, so I can tell. Unit Group B of the French are going to go first, and finally they're going to move within fire range. Let's put them right here. Put him right here. Does it really do any good to completely wrap around this way, or should I pull one unit for a flank hit and have the other one do like flank support against possible? Let's do that. Let's pull him in. And let's turn him for, which could be a waste of a unit, but the pending crap cloud coming this way, I think we need to be ready for that. Or I'm being overly cautious. Alright, that's unit group B. I don't know that I need to put white cubes down. I mean, I can't pull that shit again. So French E. That's these two cavalry units here who still have a maneuver order. Seems like everything's in the way. I should have come around this way. Too late to do that? Yes. No. I'm doing it. Was going to head that way, but it's just too condensed. So now I'm going to try and come around this way with the cavalry, which is what I should have done in the first place. Kind of a waste of time. That's what I've done there. British have yet to have their go, but that'll change now. Alright, ladies and germs. What a stupid term, ladies and germs. I think I got that from a history teacher. B is ready to roll. Let's start with there's going to be some firing going on. Let's start with this group here. They're going to fire at French unit group B here in this hex. See what happens. Roll the die. Oh Lord, they got a 10. It's not good for the French. That is B3. B3 has a what? Pause for effect. Yep, this is not good. So not only did they roll the highest possible roll they could, a 10, they also have a +2 firing bonus, which is bad for the French. So that's 12. Let's go from there. Find our fire chart. You add however many units are in the hex, so 13, 14, 15, 16. For each rank, they're in a column, so that's 18. So 18 it is. Now we get to draw a card, and we look. Here's the card. And each card is different, so you can't predict ahead of time if something will have a certain effect or not like that. 18, we're going to remove a unit, so they lose that. Goes there. I forget what that is. That's not all that's happening. That's the least of it. There's more. They're also disordered. That's not all. There's more. They retreat. So that was a great job by the British there. I mean, I don't know that they could have gotten a better result as possible in the game. Put this card on the bottom of the deck. Those salty British looking pretty good. Let's go for the next one. What does he roll? He rolls a 6. That's not bad either. What is B2? I think B2 has the same fire bonus as B3. B2 is, yes. He also has a +2, so that's an 8 right off the bat. Go our fire chart. For each gunner or figure, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're over the necessary 11 or higher. 2 ranks for the French in column is 14. So let's see what 14 is. Oh Jesus. This is bad, but we looked at it. Could have been worse. Here's why. Where is it? Because if there was a commander here rather than there, he'd be wounded. Alright, so again, removing, but basically other than that is the same result. Remove a stand or a figure or whatever you want to call it, a cube, a block. He is also disordered, and he also retreats, so I don't know what's going on with the French here, but not looking too good under British fire. That's about all B has to Dick and do. I wouldn't want him to do much else. I guess I have a little French bias here. That's fine. Now Group D for the British. Well, these fine fellows. Now what do they have? maneuver order, so they're stuck because you can't move adjacent to the enemy. So they're basically reluctant. French Group D. These two units here have a maneuver order, so they can't do anything. I couldn't change their orders. Artillery unit, right flank for the British is going to move up one again, and then he's going to, you know what? Yeah, I think he's done moving after that. That could be bad. You'll see why. I'm doing that on purpose by way of example. Cavalry units, flank attack, artillery. That's going to be brutal. F. French F. In fact, did they get to change their... Yes, they did. So F. Welcome to the battle. Right here. And here. 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 British A has those pesky cavalry units. Like that. Just go like that. You know, it's beginning of December and it was 82 degrees here yesterday. It's crazy. This is what now? Let's get one closer. Just to really intimidate. That. Let's see what else we got here. I didn't even bother to check if there's any comments. I apologize. There are a few. Oh gee. No enemies here. What's up? Who else? Laying some tiles or something. Wood flooring, and we finished that up. Alright, where was I? Did that. We have French artillery. French artillery. I'm sidetracked. Shouldn't have looked at the comments. Focus, back to this. Where is the one there? This one. So, what does he have? Really? Yeah, okay. He can't move anywhere because there's everybody in the way. I guess he could fire 1, 2, 3, 4. What's his? That's not a range to fire even, so there's nothing going on there. That leaves XX. Ooh. Ooh. See this artillery unit right here? So I think the battery on my phone is about to die. I'm going to take a quick break before we fire this artillery unit at the flank of this French infantry unit. So maybe go get a bathroom break or something. There we go. Right there. You're just gonna have to fall off. Right there. It's here. Camera's gonna shake. Let's hope that charged at the phone. If it didn't, we'll find out. Alright, back in business. These guys firing at this flank of this French infantry unit. Roll a die. Oh, he gets an 8. That is good for them, bad for us. Where's the fire? Fire, fire, fire. An 8. And that is a 2 range for XX. 1, 2, that's a +3. That's a hit already, an 11. Oh, Lord. 12, 13, 14. 15, 16. So it's a 16. If they were in line, it would have been worse. 16 is bad enough. What do we get for a 16? We get a wounded commander, great. Disorder and retreat. You know, the results that they're getting are just brutal, because there's plenty of other results that aren't so bad, but what's a wounded commander? A blue. So I got all these cues. I got a retreat. And that is now 3 infantry units that the French have lost to the British, none. So, something's not right. I'm going to write my congressman and let him know that I am not happy with how this game is turning out, and see if he can pass some legislation that will allow me to better enjoy my hobby and pastime. Alright. British looking pretty good, I have to say. Damn good. French unit group C. Half of them are disordered. No, that's not true. These two, what was their... So they do have an attack order, so they can move up. This is good news. You might not agree, but this is good news, trust me. Moving up. Up, 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 up. Attack order, they can only move 1. If it was a maneuver, they could move 2. Just not adjacent to an enemy unit. So that's the extent of my move there. That leaves artillery on a hill. Do they have a shot on anything? No. Let's move off of the hill, yeah? Yeah. Off the hill. Now finally, British Unit Group C, who have an attack order. This is a good thing. No, I'm going to bring... No, they don't. They have a maneuver order. So they're stuck. Alright. That brings us to the second phase of the action phase, which is formation change, wheel, melee, or cavalry charge. We got some stuff that can happen now. So who qualifies for melee? We have B, French B, French C, put them in the pot. French F, put them in the pot. Not right-wing cavalry. What else? Okay, so C and D of the British, put them in the pot. And B of the British. All these guys qualify for melee. And it will be random order once again. Let's see who goes first. And then well, we have 2 cavalry wings here for each side that can do a cavalry charge. So this is going to be a very interesting, involved segment. Well, we will start with the French left-wing cavalry slamming against the flank of this artillery that is trying to move up. It should be a laugh riot. Roll a 6, that's not awful. And for the French A, and they can't form a square, they're artillery, so that's great for me. I'm happy. 6. We'll start with this one, A1. And he's gonna move up here. Start with that. Move him. And A1 has a +2 melee ability. Let's see, here we go. So that's an 8, right? Let me find cavalry charge here. Cavalry charge. So that's 6 plus 10 for the cavalry charge itself is already 16. I don't even think these numbers go higher than 16, so any additional, yeah, they go up to 18. 17, 18, 19 for the 3 cavalry units. We're as high as we can go. We can go higher, but what does that result in? That results in remove a stand, disorder, and retreat. I guess they could have attacked again, but he retreated, so I guess he lucked out there. Next, British Unit Group D is going to melee, so let's go here first. D2 of the British. Wow, they suck. They're terrible. He actually has a -1 for his bonus in melee, so that's not good. Let's roll and see what he gets there. He gets a 4. That's not very good. So now we're at a 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I could be making this up. I could be doing this wrong. Yep, he has a maneuver order. So he can't be doing the melee thing. He's disqualified. Let's see, what does that give us? B. That's this one lone infantry unit here. He does not have a maneuver order. He can attack. French B. Let's roll him. Yes, he's good to go. He gets a 5. He has a bonus of, that is B1, has a bonus of +1, that's a 6. 7, 8, 9, 10 for each figure in the unit. That fell off. 11, 12 for each rank in the attacking unit. Open order. What is ranks for open order? None. Oh, 2. So that's a 10? What? 3, B1. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, we damn. But he's attacked on the flank. That's another +2. So let me refigure this. 3, and that is B2 or B1. It's a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Goes back to 9. But he's attacked on the flank. There's a 10, 11. So he just made it because it's a flank attack. Pull this. Now we'll see a low result. Actually, not bad. So they lose a figure and are disordered, but interestingly, and oddly historically, they do not retreat. How about that? Who would thunk it? That worked out kind of cool. Well, I think you know what? I think I forgot a modifier for them being in the woods. I'm gonna leave it though. Isn't that mean? I'll remember that next time. How about that? French Unit F. Somewhere over here. Yeah, I don't know. Can I wheel in this phase? Second segment. Wheel. No. Or I can attack him. So, alright, here we go. French F. Let's start with him. He only gets a 4. That's not going to be anything. 4, F1. He has no bonuses. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's nothing. Next, let's roll for F2. Again, he's got a 4. This is going to be the same result. F2 does not have any bonuses either, so that's nothing. You gotta get 11 or better to get a result here. Not happening. This is French Unit A. These cavalry units. Now here's some fun stuff, alright? They want to attack these guys here. And then we'll go to the next one. But they get a chance to form square, so all kinds of stuff happen. Let's see first if they can form square. Morale check. That doesn't look good. They roll a 1. B1's morale is, for French B1 is a 6, so that's 7 per figure in the thing. 8, 9, 10, 11. Not disordered. Not routing. Maneuver order. It just dropped because they're being attacked on the flank. And because it's a cavalry charge, so they could not form square. They roll a 3 on the attack. Let's see. Cavalry charge 3. 13. 14, 15, 16. And A2 is for the British 17. So now we have a factor of 17 going in there, and they, guess what, lose a stand. They are disordered. Another disordered French unit. Great. And they retreat. Not sure about advancing after that attack. I'm going to say they choose not to. How about that? That brings this A1 cavalry group in for their cavalry charge. They will also, B2, French B2 unit will also try to form square. Forming square, B2 right here. What happens? He gets a 4. I don't know that that's going to be enough. Check his stat. B2. There's a morale of 4. So that's an 8. Let's see, 19, 11, 12. I'm glad I see it earlier when I was going to make him expose his flank and the possibility of moving in there. I'm glad I didn't do that. But he still doesn't make it because he's trying to react to a cavalry charge, and there's a -2 or 4 depending on where the charge originates from. So he still doesn't make it. Which brings... So now we roll and see what the damage is. That's 4 plus 10 is 14. $15, $16, $17. And does A1 have a bonus for the British? 19. Jesus. Goodbye, one of you French units, and disorder and retreat. So now it's 3, 4, 5 eliminated French units to 2 British French units. French unit group C, we only have this guy that can do anything. And this time I promise I'll remember the bonus that they get for defending in the woods. Wow, they rolled a 9. Check the melee chart here. That is C1 for the French. Flip that over. C1 is nothing. Rolled a 9 for infantry. Figure 10, 11, 12, 13. For rank 15. Commander's value. Were we at 15? Now I gotta find the commander's value. It's the second number. And that's C. That's 18. For ranking the defending unit, that's 16. $15. After all those modifiers, it comes down to 15. 15 is, you guessed it, remove a stand, disorder, and say it with me, retreat. Now here's something interesting. They cannot retreat because there are units in the way. So what happens when that's going on? Wow, so since they can't retreat, they lose an additional figure. What's the score now? 3, 4, 5 French eliminated units to 4 British eliminated units. British unit C is going to fire, or rather melee attack, French unit group F. What does he got going on? He rolls a 7, not bad, not bad. And that is C2 of the British. C2 has a no melee bonus. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Brings it back down to 11. So he barely made an attack with an 11. Which is, wow, different result this time. Only disorder. Nobody gets lost. Nobody retreats. And finally, British Unit Group B. I believe we can melee attack if we're disordered. Let me double check that. Just with a penalty. Then we'll do the rally phase, and that'll be into turn 2. What happens when you're disordered? I mean, really? So you can do a melee attack, but he's going to be penalized pretty bad. So that was unit group B. Let's roll for him. Nothing's going to happen. He rolled a 2. B3 has a melee bonus of nothing. Let's just keep writing it out here. 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's only 4. He's got nothing. I don't even think he could get past 2. So he had nothing. Let's see here. Now we're in the rally phase. Put these guys back in the pot. Plenty of rallying to be done. Now, here's the deal with rallying. I don't know that you need to do it unless you're routing. Nobody's routing. We do have disordered units. So here's the fun part, right? During one of the action segments, if a disordered unit does nothing, he can lose that disordered status. I think that's what I will opt to do for everybody that is currently disordered. Units may recover from disorder during the change formation step of either segment of the action phase, and as long as they do not perform another action during that phase. So that's what will happen there. Let's see if British reinforcements come on this turn. They do not, and that is turn 2. What do you think so far? Oh. What's the game? The game, Stupid Joe, is Battles of Napoleon, but it is a highly customized, changed up version. This is not the map that comes with it. I made this map. Pieces, I made the pieces. The rules are all changed, etc., etc. But the core element, the combat results, combat mechanism, is still Battles of Napoleon, Eagle, and the Lion. As I said before, a game I revisit often, come back to again and again. And that was the end of turn 2. I don't know what I feel like. I usually would quit at this point. I think I'm going to keep it going. But I am going to take another break. It's hot, and I'm going to get something to drink. I'll come back and do another turn. What do you think? Alright, break time, then I'll be back. We'll do at least another turn. just while we're breaking here. This is what I should be playing. Pub Battles, Waterloo 1815. This just came in. I've already opened it up and gone through it. Looks like it'd be pretty fun to hit the table with. Or I could throw this on the table. The Ziploc version of Hexasim Falling Eagles. So I've got stuff coming on my ears that needs to hit the table. I should probably have 6 or 7 tables with stuff set up instead of just one thing, but I don't know. This is like comfort food for me, I guess. Alright, let's suffer through another turn, and then we'll call it a day. So what are we doing here? Where is... There it is. Let's try once again here. Keep him. To change orders. Starting with the British. And you know, hats off to you guys that can play games 100 without making any rules mistakes. It's just it amazes me. These guys still had a maneuver order. Remember those cavalry charges that took place? Probably shouldn't have happened because they still had maneuver orders. That's still a maneuver order. It didn't get changed. And so would that be. I'm going to fudge it and say they've got attack orders. What do you think of that? The designer's rolling over in his bed. What else? B, let's see, British first. Let's say they have an attack order. Okay, fine, they have an attack order. That brings us to B, they have a defend order. C, they have a maneuver order. Let's try and change that at least. What does he roll? E? That nice. Very well done, they changed it. So unit group C has changed from a maneuver order to an attack order. Unit group D, can they do likewise? They... 8? Where's D? Ooh, 11, they just did it. They rolled an 8, he has a orders stat of 3, that makes an 11. And so their maneuver order changes to attack order. French. We said, let's say he has an attack order. Fine, he has an attack order. That leaves D and E really need to change their orders. So D, can they change their maneuver order to an attack order? No. Can E do it? Unit group E for the French, can they? That is a 7 that they rolled. But again, there's no point in changing that maneuver order because they're still trying to come around this way, which is probably, arguably, a stupid move. But I'm sticking to it, man. I want them to swing around this way. I think when it happens, I'll be glad I chose to do that. Anybody out of command? Does this ever happen? It has before. Doesn't seem to be happening now. Everybody's still in command. What's left for the command phase? That's it. So now we move directly to action phase 1. Start drawing. And this would be the move, fire segment. Move or fire. Starting with the French artillery unit here in the center. You know what I'm doing? I'm going to move him up even. I'm moving him up one more. Boom. After that, no more moving him. He's lobbing bombs. Hey. That is our cavalry units here. Don't want to move, don't want to fire, can't fire. Next segment they can do something possibly. British left-wing artillery, they're firing. They're firing all day over there. Roll a 9. Let's get our fire chart. I think they may have done something here. British XX at 1, 2, 3 range is a +1, so 9 + 1 is a 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. What's a 15, huh? A 15 is remove a figure, retreat, and disorder. I'm even out of disorder cubes. Remove a figure. He's already disordered, so you know what that means. Remove a figure. Retreat and disorder. Well, he's already disordered, so that means he's now routing. And he gets a red cube, our first red cube of the game. He also has a wounded commander, so this guy's really beat the hell up. And when you rout, it's not a 1 hex retreat, it is a 2 hex retreat, 1, 2. And if I remember correctly, based on the required victory conditions, if these guys don't rally and they rout another one, that's game over. Unless I'm forgetting something. This leaves E. French unit group E. That is our maneuvering cavalry. Guys, it's smart to move up and charge it. Artillery? No. Probably not. I'm doing it. 2. 2. 2. Right? Alright. French unit group D. What is their order? They have a stinking maneuver order, so they can't do nothing. French unit group A. Pull him up one. That's about all I can do with him right now. That leaves our disordered British artillery of the right wing. If he does nothing, he can recover, so that's what will happen there. Poor fellers. French unit, or British unit group D. Alright, they both have targets and they can both fire. Let's start with D2, firing on the French F2 unit. Roll a die, sir. He rolls a 2, that's not very promising. For D2 they have -1, so that's a 1. That's nothing. I can tell you right now that's nothing. Isn't going to be near enough. See if D1 has any. And I could use one to support the other for a bonus, but I typically don't do that. He rolls 1 straight up, so that's a bust for unit group D. I think most of the rest of this stuff's French. French unit group B is Every one of them are disordered. Wow. 1. They really took a battering. 2, 3. Yeah. They'll all recover from disorder, so that's the end of that. British Unit Group C. We got a guy here that can fire. Also, what's the... C has an attack where he can move up. That's what he'll do. Not bad there. Let's roll for our French unit group there. He gets a 7. And that is who? C1. C1 does not have any bonuses, but he does have his commander in the same hex. Doesn't count for firing though, so we're still at a 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. No bonuses for rank and open order. 10. Because he's in the woods, I did nothing. So lucky for him. That leaves. Wasn't for the woods, I would have done something to him. Oh, but he's disordered. No, it doesn't matter for me. Moving right along, we have somewhere. Here it is. This. I'm gonna fire at C2. Let's see what French artillery can do, huh? Not much, because he rolled a 2. Good lord. 2x range, that's gonna be a 4. This isn't gonna be anything. Fire value per on the card. 5, 6, 7. Best he can do is a 7. You gotta get 11 or higher. So that's nothing. Unit Group F for the French. Unit Group F. Let's move F4 here. That's what he does. Let's fire. We got F2 and F1 that can fire. Let's fire with F2. It's a 2. I don't think that's going to be enough. What is his rating? F2. That's not going to be enough. Let's try F1, even though he's disordered. Let's see what he can do. He rolled a 6. F1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, because he's disordered, I would have had something, I would have had 12. But he's disordered. So, in fact, you know what? He shouldn't have tried to fire anyway. He should have tried to recover. So I take that back. He does nothing and recovers. That leaves British Unit Group B. This guy's just hanging out in the Feudal Mount farm drinking. These two guys are going to recover from disorder. That leaves one B unit that can fire on French Unit Group C. Do so now. He gets a 1, and that guarantee you that's going to do nothing. So that's it for the movement fire phase. That brings us to the melee cavalry charge phase. And then I'll cut you guys loose. Back in the pot you all go. Back in the pot. Alright. Artillery are not going to be conducting melee, so that's out. British Unit Group A. Here we go again, okay. Let's start with A2. Excuse me. Need water. I cannot believe this is December weather. I'm almost ready to turn the air on. A2 is going to attempt to cavalry charge against French Unit B1. Here's what's going to happen. French Unit B1 is going to try to form square and they're going to get it. What did I tell you? He rolled a 10. That is plenty to form square. 10 plus, what is B1's rating? His morale is a 6. That's a 16. I mean, and there's only a negative, even with a -4 maximum possible penalty for a distance from being charged at. That's still a 12, so he's now in square. Bad news for the British, right? Square is purple. Now we get our first purple cube. And these color-coded cube systems are again my own design. Purple square. What happens with this melee charge against infantry in square? Well, it ain't going to be pretty. That's what happens. It's a 5. And A2 has a melee value of +1. That's 6. 7, 8, 9. 10. 8. This drops 5 points for being in a square. So nothing going on, but as a result, our cavalry is, I will double check this, disordered for attacking a square after that attack. Cavalry charge. Yeah, he's disordered. Let's see, this guy's going to try a similar maneuver here. Let's see what he gets. Trying to form square, he gets a 6. It would be close. That is B2 for the French. B2 has a morale of 6, so that's 12. But hold on. 13, 14, 15. -4. That makes an 11. So he barely makes it. He forms square. Let's see if this cavalry unit does anything. A 3, it's not going to be anything. I'll run through it just to make sure, but it's not going to be high enough. For A1 of the British. Oh, he has +2, but still not going to do it. That's 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. Best he could get was a 9, so that's nothing. He's disordered as well. See, that's what I'm saying. It's really kind of almost pointless to attack infantry if they're not disordered, because they'll just form square and screw you up. British Unit D here, so we had 2 melee fights going on. Let's start with D2. got a 9. What is D2's -1? That's an 8. 9, 10, 11, 12. 14. 13. No, 12. So he gets a 12. That is, a 12 is remove a stand and disorder. God, they're just chipping away at me here. Next. Let's see what he rolls. And all we're rolling is 1d10. That's it. He got a 10. Good lord. That's a 9 because he has a negative modifier. 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 18 because he's with his commander and he has a melee attack bonus. Hold that number for a second. 18. Yep. Drops back down to 16 because of defender being in column. So it's a 16. Remove a stand, disorder, but also retreat. Remove a stand, disorder. Did the other guy have to retreat and I didn't do that? It's like something I would do. And he has to, what is D? Yeah, he has an attack. He has to advance. If you cause a unit to retreat in melee, you can't not advance into that hex. So now we have also our first going to be out of command unit here. Things are starting to heat up and get a little interesting. D, French unit D here. There. Let's see. Yeah, D did the French D? No, he couldn't change his stupid order. So he does nothing. A. A is going to French cavalry unit left wing attack this artillery unit again. He rolls a 3, not so good. Not so good. What is A1's? That's a 5. Plus 10 is 15. Plus flank. Sorry, lost you here. Move a stand, disorder and retreat. Slowly chipping away at that. Making him move backwards. Based on the theory I just said, wouldn't they have to also advance? Which I didn't do before. He's going to be out of command as well. No, he's not. Take that back. What the hell's going on here? This is all screwed up. They will be out of command. Let's try this. Let's slam. Hold on. Let's slam this cavalry unit A2 against the flank of British cavalry unit A1, which is also disordered. Why would you not do that? I don't know. You wouldn't not do that. Jesus, a 3? And this is A2. Luckily he has a big bonus, so that's going to be a 6 actually. Melee. 7, 8, 9. 10. Oh. Defense. Let me figure this in. 3, 6, 79. 10. He just missed it. He just missed a result. The best he could get was a 10. You feel the pro-French bias coming out of me. C. We gotta see what's going on over here. British C. Got a couple things happening here. Let's start with C2, huh? He rolls an 8. It's gonna be bad. Melee with an 8, and that's what, C2. He does not have a bonus. 12, 14. Goes back to 12. Best he could do was a 12, which means simply disordered. Bad enough. That brings us here, C1 against C2. He rolls. He also rolls an 8, and being nothing different, it would be a 12, which is also disorder under the 12 for that card, so put that there. About halfway through this segment, which is the melee cavalry charge segment. We have British left wing artillery, which can do nothing. French unit group E. What's going on with you guys? They can't do anything. British or French center artillery. Nothing doing. French right-wing artillery, nothing doing. French unit group B, which is in square, oh lord, against disordered cavalry. Let's see what happens when that is the case. Starting with French infantry unit B1, who has as leader in the same hex. B1, melee. It's probably not. Let's see. Roll 3. B1 has a bonus value, melee value of 1, so that's a 4. 5, 6, 7. What does B have? 8, 9, 10. Couldn't do it. Best he could do was a 10. Let's see if... So he's going to need a 4 or better to do anything. And he got a 3, so that's nothing either. That's going to be the same thing. 3 units left. British unit group B. have two melee attacks that can occur here. Let's start with B2, or B4 rather. I only rolled a 2, that's not going to be enough for anything. B4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nothing. Best he could get out of that was a 6. That leaves, even with the fact that they're disordered, doesn't even help. Okay, he rolls a 5, that's B3. Still no melee bonus on there. B3 with a 5, 6, 7. Nothing. Nothing doing there either, and that leaves, we got 2 French units left. French unit group C. See what happens. We'll start with C2. I'm not attacking them, I'm attacking them. Let's roll for C2. He gets a 4. What are these crappy rolls, man? C2, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10. So actually that's a 9. 7. Best he could get out of that was a 7. That brings us to C1. Let's see if he has any better luck. He should. Roll a 6. Let's get a start. C1. No bonus, but he has his commander who has a melee attack value of 3. You can tack on. 6 plus 3 is 9. 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15. Brings it down to 13. Woods brings it down to 12. So he did get something. What is a 12? It's simply disorder. French were able to disorder the guys in the woods here. One unit group left, that is French unit group F, who are disordered. Does F have? Yes. Let's bring F4 against D2. He gets a 4. That isn't going to be much of anything, I don't think. F4. Nope. 4. 7. Brings it down to 5. Yeah, he's got nothing. Finally, F2 against D1. He has an 8. That's a little bit better. And F2 doesn't have any bonuses either. So 8, 9, 10, 11. No rank bonus because he's disordered. No unit group command in the same X. -2 for each rank on the defender. Brings it to 9. Well, that's junk. double checking here. 8, 9, 10, 11. That's nothing either. So whatever. Guess doesn't help to be a down man disordered. No melee bonus, no commander in the same hex. That's what you get. So what's the score now? That brings us to the rally phase. Score now is 8 French-British units destroyed, and 5, did I say, yeah, 8 French units destroyed, 5 British units destroyed. I've got a routing French unit here I need to try to rally, and that'll be the end of the turn. Oh Jesus, he gets a 3. This is not good. Because if you route off, that unit's done. If you route off map, and each time you fail, if you're in route, each time you fail on the route test, you move back 2. So this could be potentially disastrous. That means the British would be halfway to their victory conditions. So we rolled a 3. The morale value for F3 is a 3, so that's 6. He has his commander in the same hex. So 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Brings it back to 9, no 8. Yep, he didn't do so good, so he's still routing away. And I don't know how historically accurate, not that any of this stuff is historically accurate, but to just route and completely take flight indefinitely forever, it's curious to me. Seems like they would stop running away at a certain point and just hunker down. Oh, maybe they did. Maybe they just ran and ran and ran. Let's see if the British get their reinforcements on the next phase. They do not. That is the end of turn 3. 6 turns left. 9, 10 turn. So 7 turns left of a 10-turn game. That's it. That's all I got in me. Thank you guys for watching. Any closing thoughts? Kind of a slogfest here, and part of that is the nature of the game, the proximity within which you have to maneuver. It really is designed and set up for you to start duking it out rather quickly. I've already mentioned there's not a lot of time or space for grand maneuvering. It's just the way it's designed. Not a bad thing. Seems almost like a battle of attrition. And also the victory conditions and the way the British are set up. So the British really don't care about maneuvering hardly at all. They want to stick, especially in the center here, with where they are. Just stay there, defend. And it's the French who are able, given more options to maneuver, but even then, when you have a central focal point that you're funneling in, you're really ultimately only going to head to the same area. So it's kind of like a clogged drain, slowly getting filled up with hair and whatnot. Your typical drain. Other than that, how about that map though, huh? Not bad. I'm pretty proud of that. Probably the best map I've ever done. Just pasting things on and cutting them out. Really eye-catching. Alright, I think I've done enough. You guys are the best for watching, and it had been a couple months since I posted anything on here. I was going to play anyway. So, there's a glimpse into my typical day, gaming something. I tried to think out loud as much as possible. And that's it. So I'll see you guys next time. See if I can kill this camera. We want to end this ending.